Hello, everyone, and welcome to the quarterfinals of the StarCityGames.com Columbus Open Weekend. Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan here in the booth as we prepare to watch Stephen Dykman with green-black aggro, your #1 overall seed, against Derik Malenda playing Mardu Vehicles, your #8 overall seed. First weekend with Ether Revolt. It's been a lot of fun to watch, and these are two pretty innovative, fun decks. I'm excited to see just how Stephen Dykman does this. He's been basically our #1 overall seed all tournament long.
Ran through, best record at the end of the Swiss.
Yeah. And I think the deck is just good. I really do. He starts things off with a Blooming Marsh into a forest, and is it time to wind? No, it is not. So we take a look here at a Glint Sleeve Siphoner. A lot of players calling this the new Dark Confidant. It's not exactly that, but it's still good.
Yeah, in much of the same way that people called Phyrexian Scuda the new Zuzam Dijin. Still, I think potentially a quality card here in the matchup, especially on the play where Menace is a real source of evasion.
Heart of Kirin, along with an attack for 3. Here from the Toolcraft Exemplar. Dykman's going to fall down to 17.
Dykman's got this weird kind of energy package in the deck with the Siphoner. He's got the Aether Sphere Harvester as well.
Harvester gives some energy here for Steven.
We have not seen this all weekend long.
No.
But I think that Aether Sphere Harvester in a mirror match or any sort of creature combat, life totals matter sort of deal, may be one of the key cards in Standard. I think that 5 toughness alongside lifelink is an awesome combination, plus flying when you're ready to go on offense. And it's crew 1, so you can tag it up with your Thraben Inspectors and so forth.
Toolcraft Exemplar is going to turn on the Heart of Kirin. And I was just thinking of 5 toughness.
Yeah.
It's so much toughness.
5's a lot.
Yes. Dykman's going to turn on the Harvester and block the Heart of Kirin.
And I like this block here as an opportunity to gain some life. Even if Malenda has something like Shock to finish off the Harvester, that means your Siphoner gets to go to the next turn, gets to draw a card.
Malenda does have Shock to finish off the Harvester. So Dykman did get his 3 life back. Now here's a Thraben Inspector, a clue on the way, and now we're going to head over to Stephen Dykman. Dykman is going to pay a life to draw a card here.
Dark Confidant, it is back.
Yes. And better than ever. It is still a pretty good card.
I think this card is much better than some of the more recent attempts.
Yeah, me too.
The one where you had to untap with it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Block.
Yeah, I know what you're talking. You never drew a card.
This one is much better.
Yeah, you never drew a card. You had to work really hard for that card. There's Asylum Visitor. If you have no cards, you drew a card. That one had Madness.
No, this card kind of just works.
Yeah.
And the more energy synergies you explore, the more you can make it greater than just a standalone card.
A Servant of Conduit there from Stephen Dykman off of 2 basic forests. He's got 2 more energy. I'm just going to pass the turn back. This is a Scrap Heap Scrounger from Malenda. There'll be a trigger there on the Toolcraft Exemplar. And now the Scrounger is going to turn on the Heart of Kirin. It's time for beatdowns. There's a block. I think we're going to see a Grasp. Yeah. And we're going to see how this shakes out. Yeah, because we'll take a look at Toolcraft Exemplar. First strike damage is still going to kill the Servant of the Conduit. I believe Toolcraft Exemplar says if you control 2 artifacts, Exemplar gets first strike. And I believe Dykman forgot
3 or more.
3 or more. And 3 more artifacts that also gains first strike until end of turn.
So the trigger happens at the declare combat
yes,
step.
Yes, along with the +2/+1. Okay.
So that is rough.
Yeah. I believe Dykman thought that he would be able to grasp away the Heart of Kirin, lowering the number of artifacts, but...
Yeah, Toolcraft Exemplar is a little bit funky because a lot of times designs like that just sort of lock in based on the state of the game. And that's one where it's a trigger and it locks in, and even if circumstances change, it's still whatever it is.
So a bit of a misstep there from Steven, but we'll see if he has the tools to be able to come back from that.
fortunately up some resources because the Siphoner is just going off.
Yep. But Malenda started to build up a pretty decent board, and he can find another card if he'd like by sacrificing a clue. We'll see what happens on Derik's turn when we head back that way.
As a reminder, players, as this is the last round of space, you should not roll a die or offer or accept anything to change a match result.
Another Harvester here from Dykman, and another start of the Conduit for energy.
And the Harvester looks great on this board. And the Siphoner Harvester combo is really nice too, because if Malenda can't attack, then the energy is there to spare, and he also has the life to work with and can get some of it back with the Harvester.
Yep.
So a nice synergistic pair of cards. They both generate energy.
Good place to be.
Yeah, they two great tastes that taste great together. Right there. Those two cards a combo. Don't be stupid. Of course they are.
Okay.
Of course they are.
Didn't even let me answer.
There's no answer to
save me from myself.
Yeah. What are we talking about here?
And then they'll just pass the turn back. Nothing really to do here because of the Harvester and its 5 toughness.
3 cards here for the Siphoner.
Yes.
It is really going.
The best I've seen it's been. I mean, it's the first tournament with it, but
We have not seen a beatdown mirror yet where this card was involved.
Yeah.
And I think this is where ultimately this card is going to really shine.
Tireless Tracker. Blooming. Oh, it's actually a Hissing Quagmire, excuse me. Clue, and I believe Dykman's going to sacrifice a Clue right away. See a new card.
Love doing this just straight away. No need to get fancy. He's ready to run away with the game with card advantage, and no reason to risk this Tireless Tracker to a shock.
Yeah. Unlicensed Disintegration here in Melenda's hand. The problem here for Derik, he just hasn't found a third land yet. He's just not gotten off to the aggressive start that he is looking for.
Yep. And an issue here for Malenda is he is going to some of the Pro Tour build of this vehicle style deck. You see the Spire Bluff Canal to enable some counter spells in the sideboard. That comes at the expense of the Spire.
Spire of Industry.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he has Unlicensed Disintegration in his hand, and it's not even clear if he's going to get a chance to cast that because he's pretty far away from black mana. A lot of his lands that he could draw don't work.
He's going to have to rip off like a Concealed Courtyard, basically.
Yeah.
For that to be the case. It'd be a heck of a draw. I'm going to head back over to Dykman now.
Yeah, I think he's considering here on the upkeep whether he wants to spend the remainder of his energy on the Siphoner.
Hand's good. It's got a Virtuous Gearhulk over there. It's not just about am I going to find a way to punch through.
It's hard for me to just turn down cards in a spot like this.
Yeah.
Nothing's really happening.
Yep.
He's at 17, falling to 16, so it's not like he really feels the need to keep the energy around for the Harvester lifelink. Also, the more cards he draws, the more likely he is to find a replacement source of energy.
Well, there's a Blooming Marsh. Get a Clue.
Also keep in mind that the Siphoner has Menace, so that's an especially good thing to put some Gearhulk counters onto.
Very true. Another Siphoner in hand as well.
There is an argument here to sort of diversify a little bit here in terms of your sized up creatures. Because of Unlicensed Disintegration, you probably don't want to shove on one thing.
Four mana here. What do we have as a play? All right, Walking Ballista. 2 counters. 1 counter. Okay. Let's take a look at Walking Ballista really quick.
This is another fine target for Virtuous Gearhulk.
I just learned something about Walking Ballista. Thought you had to sacrifice it to.
No, yeah,
damage.
no.
No, that card's just awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
I thought you had to sack it like Walk Fanatic because that's what we were calling it over the course of the
Nope.
weekend. No,
Nope.
that's just a really good card. Okay. Malenda will draw. He's in some trouble. Shock is. There's a lot of targets for Shock. Kind of want to kill Ballista and the Siphoner.
Sure. That is true.
I mean, I don't want that Ballista just hanging around in this sort of game, you know?
Oh, we're just. That is true. I think we are past the point of no return here. Dykman's still got a handful of cards here.
Yeah.
Via Siphoner and Tireless Tracker.
Malenda going to sacrifice a clue. Veteran Motorist. Not so much.
That is nice. The face of the Walking Ballista.
And Dykman will draw Nissa. Oh boy. This is getting bad here for Derik.
I feel like we're gonna have a concession coming here in a moment.
I have a feeling you are correct.
8 mana is enough for Nissa and Virtuous Gearhulk, and that should be very easy to split up in such a way where you do not have to worry about unlicensed disintegration off the top.
That's true. At 17.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he should have enough to, manage that concern.
Looks like Servant is going to turn on the Harvester. And I think I know we might be Gear Hulking on to. Yep. Counters are going to go on the Harvester. Looks like some are going to go on the Ballista. And now he can play Nissa. He can minus Nissa to put a counter on everything.
Malenda with the sarcastic thumbs up.
Yep, that does resolve.
That effect does happen.
And the rest of Steven's creatures will get +1/+1 as well. So one there, one for the Servant, and don't forget our good friend the Gearhulk.
Yeah.
Our good buddy Mr. Gearhulk should get a counter.
Hey, Gearhulk gets a little love too.
Yeah. Why we hate on the Gearhulk, Steven? There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
There we go.
And now you're going to attack with everything.
Malenda will contemplate his blocks.
Good beard scratch, too, I think.
Don't mess this one up. Listen, it's the top 8. I respect you just play as hard as you can, Respect it.
That's all you can do. Now, here's what I want on Derik's turn. I want to attack with that Scrounger.
Definitely. Into the Gearhulk.
At Nissa.
Yeah. Declare combat? Okay.
All right.
Oh, well.
Steven Dykman's going to win game number 1 here over Derik Malenda. Green-black aggro. Up a game here over Mardu Vehicles. Just never really got out of the gate there.
No, I mean, he just missed some land drops, and looked like his opening was pretty solid there. But once things ground down a little bit, Dykman clearly has better tools for that kind of game. Virtuous Gearhulk, Nissa.
Not a lot that can be done there.
Malenda needs to get off to the aggressive start and stay on the front foot, because when things slow down, Tireless Tracker, another part of that too. Dykman is, if things grind to a halt, he's going to get the better end of it.
Well, we'll take a look at the sideboards here, and we're going to start with Derik Malenda, who's got 3 Fragmentize, 3 Ceremonious Rejection, 2 Aether Sphere Harvester, 2 Declaration in Stone, 2 Authority of the Council, 2 Harness Lightning, and the one card that I think could be very good here, Sky Sovereign Council Flagship.
So I love the Sky Sovereign and the 2 copies of Harness Lightning. I think those are the easiest cards to bring in. I think the Declaration in Stones are very good for this matchup also. And you could talk me into the Aether Sphere Harvesters. The issue here, as we get into in a moment, is Dykman has natural states in his sideboard that are already coming in. I'm not sure if he wants to load up on more vehicles, but certainly for a beatdown matchup, it's a reasonable card to bring in.
For Dykman, 4 Transgress the Mind, 3 Natural State, 2 Lost Legacy, 2 Obnixilus Reignited, a Fatal Push, a Murder, a Grasp of Darkness, and a Tireless Tracker.
I think Dykman gets the better end of the sideboard here with a Grasp of Darkness, a Murder, a Fatal Push, and 3 copies of Natural State that are all A-pluses here. And if he can slow the game down a little bit, I think Tireless Tracker and maybe even Obnixilus are cards worth considering.
A lot of nice options here for both players. So they'll shuffle up. They'll get ready here in just a moment. And while they do, we'll talk about for the final time here this week, and so you can take advantage of it, our weekly sale. where you can get up to 50% off of full art basic lands for just a little bit longer.
You can head over to Star City Games right now and get up to 50% off of full art basic lands every week over at Star City Games. We have a new sale that starts Monday, 11 o'clock Eastern time, so make sure you're heading back to the website at least once a week. Check out what the sale is, and if you want to get up to 50% off these full art basic lands, you should head over to the website as soon as you can, because this sale will be ending in about 15 hours, 16 hours.
Yeah, about there.
Yeah.
StarCityGames.com. There you go. We have some updates here for you while these players shuffle up for game number 2. Hunter Nance has already won his match over Robert Graves, 2-0. Nance playing green-white tokens. Robert Graves playing the 4 colors Saheeli Rai deck that we have seen be more of a creature-oriented deck with Rogue Refiner and Cloud Blazer and Oath of Nissa, and being able to find the combo but not primarily based around the combo. So Robert Graves, nice tournament for our number 3 overall seed, but it's Hunter Nance, player that we saw at the 2015 Players Championship. Moving on. And then for Brendan DeCandio and his Black-Green Delirium deck, he is currently up a game over Daniel Fournier. DeCandio playing Black-Green Delirium, Fournier playing Mardu Vehicles. And it is worth noting, our last Standard Open that we did have was at the Atlanta Invitational Weekend. That was won by Brendan DeCandio.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, the information about that those kind of events slip through the cracks a little bit because we're covering the Invitational that weekend, and the Open is usually the event we're covering over the course of the weekend, but that takes a backseat during Invitational weekends. But yes, DeCandio was the winner in Atlanta.
So he is looking to kind of fly under the radar and go back-to-back, which is, you don't see it often. It's just the boss.
Yes.
Jerry won 2 in one weekend.
Right.
And
but format back to, or from weekend to weekend.
Tom Ross did it last year. Yeah. He's gone back-to-back Invitational wins, and he's gone back-to-back Open wins. He went back-to-back in Atlanta and Orlando, won both of those with White-Red Humans. So we'll see if DeCandio can actually put that together this weekend. That would be notable. For now, though, we turn our attention back here to Derik Malenda and Steven Dykman, Mardu Vehicles and Green-Black Aggro. Malenda will be on the play here with his Mardu Vehicles deck. We'll see if he can find a better hand this go-around, because it just did not function very well in that first game here for Derik. He's going to give this one a long look over. He'll keep. Dykman will take a mulligan, so he'll be going down to 6 cards. We'll take a moment here to take a look at the schedule here for the SCG Tour for Season 1. Right now, we're in Columbus. Of course, we kicked off Season 1 in Atlanta with DeCandio's win in the Open and Jacob Ball's win at the Invitational. Next weekend, we got to hang out with Ryan Overturf a little bit this weekend. He'll be covering that tournament with Matthias Hunt, and then Modern Regionals.
The Regional Championships on February the 4th. Go over to go.starcitygames.com/regionals to find out more information about regionals. Find the regional championship closest to you. After that, team constructed in Baltimore, and then Modern back-to-back in Indianapolis and Dallas. Worcester will be Legacy. That's in Massachusetts, April 8th and 9th. After that, we'll be heading to Atlanta for Standard in Louisville, Modern in Baltimore, Modern in Charlotte, and then the Season 1 Invitational, June 30th through July 2nd, Modern and Standard as the Invitational formats.
See if Steven can find an opening hand that he likes. Taking a look at 6 cards. I like that one at a time.
I do not.
1, 2, and back on top of the deck. You think about that?
The mulligan?
I
didn't see his 6 cards.
I want a good, it's a riffle shuffle. Disappointed here. I think he's got a pile shuffle in him, though.
Do you think he's got a wash?
Got to give it a good randomization. Congratulations on that, by the way.
I would love the
Well
alternate forms of pile shuffling. For example, just dropping your deck on the ground and then picking it back up and presenting it, or just riffling. It's a similar method of randomization in fake quotes.
And you get when you drop your deck, you have to recount to 60 to make sure they're all
You
there.
got to make sure, yeah.
So it's very similar to pile shuffle.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I take my deck, and then I put it into my backpack, and I shake my backpack up and down. It's actually better. That's closer to shuffling. Then I draw the cards off my deck one at a time.
So
And then the round it in a draw somehow.
I think we need to work on marketing a product that people can drop their deck into and shake it around.
Right.
I think there's a market for that.
Definitely, you can. There's things that you can buy those kind of bags for salads.
Yeah, I know.
It's the same
I
thing.
know that. Yeah.
The deck shuffler.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Also, I don't want the people over at Ultimate Guard sniping that idea. You got to cut me in on the action. Because I said it on the air. That's intellectual property, I think. I don't know the law that well.
Can't wait to see the Ultimate Guard. I can't wait to see the commercial for that.
The salad. Yeah. Well, it's great because their logo's that super muscular guy. So he'll look great shaking the deck up.
Dykman doesn't have a second land, which is a little unfortunate for him.
Yep.
As he's down to 17. Malenda with a much better start this go around. Fatal Push is going to take care of the Scrounger at least momentarily. We head back Steven Dykman's way. He has second land now in Blooming Marsh. Does he have a play to make? He's going to go with a Servant of the Conduit. All right. 2 energy on the way and maybe a little bit of mana if that thing sticks around for a little while. No guarantee of that, however, as Malenda will untap. Didn't sacrifice a clue. A little surprise there. Draw a card.
I've run into experience with Mardu artifact decks where you have to leave the clue in play as an enabler for your Artifact Matters cards.
Yeah, and we see that right now with the License Disintegration. And now an attack here for 1. So Dykman, I believe, is going to fall down to 13 after all is said and done. There's a Plains. And just a passing of the turn. So Malenda doesn't have all that much pressure. Maybe he was relying on that Scrap Heap Scrounger to get some work done. There is land number 3 here for Steven Dykman. It's another copy of Blooming Marsh. And perhaps time for a Harvester? Harvester's the kind of card that can turn this game around in a hurry for Dykman.
That's one of the concerns I have for Malenda in the matchup is even if Dykman's behind, if he's able to get a Harvester to stick and crew it, that's often just going to be, you can't attack from Melenda's side of the table.
And there is a Harvester. 4 energy now here for Steven Dykman. We head back over, to Derik Malenda. In for 1. Dykman's down to 12. Malenda plays a Mountain. He's going to tap a lot of mana, it looks like. And this is Gideon. It's big for Derik. It is. All right. That's his first real solid play of the match.
Yep. Dykman very slow out of the gates, based mostly on the 5 cards here. I think the leftovers in hand looks like a Declaration Stone, and Dykman might just get kind of shut out of the game. What's also very good about having Gideon here, it's attacker large enough to attack through the 3/5. So even if Dykman's able to build up a board, he at least has 1 eligible attacker.
There's the Ally Zendikar. Looking to get some work done here. Walking Ballista with 2 counters on it. Turn it up. Remember that this thing flies.
And then the Ballista can finish off the Gideon.
Yes, it can. Jeez.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a lot.
Those 2 cards are awesome.
Yeah. And we've seen some, and there's other copies in the top 8, but yeah. The Harvester in any sort of creature combat mirror match is awesome.
There's Declaration in Stone. Might just let it go.
I'm taking a clue here over 1 upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Here's an attack for 3.
But now you see we're kind of out of gas here on Melenda's side of the table here, and I think the last card in Melenda's hands is Scrounger. That 3/5 on defense is just locks it all up.
That's the brick wall. Yeah, that's the last card.
This was a 5-card hand where he missed a second land drop, and now we're here. And he's got a clue.
Yeah. Draw a card. Tracker.
Oh yeah.
There's 2 mana. Let's see where we're starting here. Well, here's the Siphoner. And yeah, happily pass the turn back.
Yeah, it gives him an opportunity to sacrifice his clue. Also, I'm willing to bet with Dykman kind of light on resources generally that he would prefer to play Tireless Tracker with a land in the same turn.
You saw Malenda sacrifice his clue on Dykman's end step, draw a card, now draw a card for the turn. So 2 fresh ones here for Derik.
And he got that back instead of the Scrounger because he can't attack through the 3/5, even if he got another Scrounger back.
Here's Thalian Toolcraft Exemplar. Also, no creatures in the graveyard right now for the Scrounger.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, we'll probably get to that. And Derik will hope that'll be relevant. But that's not a bad 1-2 punch there from Malenda on his turn. Thalian Toolcraft Exemplar.
But I think he's still basically at Unlicensed Disintegration or some other shatter effect or bust. This 3/5's just too much.
Dykman's going to sacrifice a clue. And now he's going to use the energy to draw a card. Winding Constrictor, Natural State. Natural State doesn't appear to be too bad.
So it's a little disruptive here for Dykman to be playing against the Thalia here, because ideally he would like to really settle his board down here, have a lot of blockers.
Yep.
Since his creatures are under the battlefield tap, there's basically a 1-turn window here where if Malenda draws the right removal spell, even a shock to pair with his 3 power units, take care of the 3/5, then Dykman might be in some trouble. But if Malenda misses on his next draw, if it's just a land or another creature that doesn't impact very much, then Dykman's in a commanding position.
Well, Grasp is good.
Grasp is great because now he gets another blocker untapped.
Big snake. 2-3 on this battlefield is pretty good. Pass a turn back. And we know that things can get out of control with the snake. Malenda is basically playing off the top of his deck at this point. So he needs to draw a good one. What is this? Thraben Inspector? All right, that's a redraw. Our worst spots to be in is he'll sacrifice that to draw a card.
The big payoff, the big reason to play this style of deck in my mind is Unlicensed Disintegration. If Malenda finds it, he's back in control of this game. But he needs to find it very soon. Because Dykman's, he's drawn a bunch of cards here. He's got Tireless Tracker in his hand. If he's able to find a land, he starts really pulling ahead. Now the question is if he wants to draw a card here, because energy is valuable. Part of the reason that Malenda hasn't been in a position to attack is because Dykman can block and gain lifelink on defense. If he's out of energy, then even if he can't answer the 3/5, he still might be able to go wide enough where an attack can work. But I think it's so good for Dykman if he's able to find a land here to pair with the Tireless Tracker.
Yeah.
That it's worth drawing the card, just there's some risk associated.
He did pick up a Grasp, too, by drawing 2 cards. There's a second card he drew, so I think Grasp's got some real value here.
Also a natural state. So he's got some reactive tools in his hand in the event that Malenda rather, would like to make a big alpha strike here. But he also wants to kind of play a creature this turn.
I think the Flashpoint just 5 mana.
Well, it looks like he drew a dual land, which at this point enters the battlefield tap, no matter which one it is.
Okay.
If he plays the Tracker and plays a land tap, he doesn't have access to Grasp, but he does have access to Natural State. And any alpha strike that Malenda makes on the next turn probably involves the Scrounger.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Let's see where Dykman's going to start. A young man from the Michigan area is having a heck of a tournament here.
This is a very nice insurance policy here for Dykman. Just now having the energy to pair with the Harvester means that it's very challenging for Malenda to make an alpha strike next turn unless he draws exactly Unlicensed Disintegration or some other shatter effect to get the Harvester off the battlefield.
We'll pass the turn back.
Although I think that should have been... Oh, no, he gets 2 energy, right? He gets 1 for the trigger and then 1 for the Constrictor. 2. The synergies are starting to unfold in front of you.
Oh, yeah, you're getting it now, aren't you?
Now you're starting to see it.
Yeah. Harvester of Melenda's own.
Although this is not a big concern for Dykman as he has the Natural State in hand.
Yes. And I think he just might want to be efficient and on the end step just cast Natural State so he can untap with 5 mana, go into his next turn and maybe potentially use all of his mana.
I think so too, because if he wants to, he can draw a card off the Siphoner, and he has Tireless Tracker potentially going online next turn as well. And at that point, it's just spend all your mana efficiently and leverage the fact that you're getting 2 or 3 cards a turn against 1 to win the game almost no matter what your draws look like. So I wouldn't want to get too fancy here with the natural state. My instinct is just to cast it. Unless you think this is enough to induce an Alpha Strike next turn, but I just think that's unlikely.
He's just got no real good attackers. Like these 3-man inspectors are just kind of garbage laying around, and the Knight Ally too. Like I would be shocked if it kind of brought in an Alpha Strike.
And it's so hard for Malenda to make any sort of Alpha Strike as long as Dykman has energy available too, because the Harvester picks up 3 on the way back and eats up something.
Yep.
And at that point, you might not even net any damage.
It's kind of a spot where I think if I'm Steven, I could see a reason to want to say, you know, I could probably trap him with this natural state a little bit. I just don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, I think his mana is just going to be at a premium here.
Looks like he's going to go towards Grasp of Darkness, perhaps.
So I'm not a huge fan of using the Grasp here. One, because I think its value is so this is the most mana efficient play. That's the argument for it.
Sure.
The problem is now I guess there was a creature in the graveyard before for the Scrounger, so that's not really a concern.
See what Dykman wants to do with the Siphoner here. He's going to use them both. 1 is a forest. 2 is another land. And he's going to use the 2 energy to draw just a single card. Now here's Tracker plus a land. 2. No, just 1 clue.
But
Just one.
two counters. Oh, yeah.
2 counters, excuse me. A hub. I think he may have drawn. I think he may have drawn actually another Winding Constrictor.
Oh, and then the counters in subsequent turns
Yes.
will be additional.
Yes. Oh boy.
Oh, yeah. That's great. Pick up 2 energy here. And it trades with anything, which is fine.
Does it trade with anything? What am I missing here?
I mean, doesn't he trade with a 3-man inspector?
Well, I guess it will trade with something because
Right.
of Menace.
Yeah, he gets,
Okay, sure.
whatever.
Yeah, but I guess by making that attack, he's going to get the energy, and then now the Harvester's good again.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or he can draw a card the next turn with the other Siphoner
Yep,
should
yep.
it break that way.
Okay.
Yeah. Trades with something, and he gets energy for his trouble.
And then, see, so I was a little confused because I was expecting the Harvester to giddy up to double block with. But then if he does double block with, like, Harvester plus Inspector,
Yeah.
then you just blow up the Harvester, you get to kill the Inspector for freebie, and then life is good. So that attack's actually pretty good. I take it all back.
Well, this is why I like Dykman's position in the matchup here. There's a lot of the same tools, a lot of the same, creatures that trade and blockers and so forth. But if the game slows down, Malenda has no analog to what's going on Dykman's side of the table right now.
None.
And Dykman mulliganed to 5 and missed his second land drop, and now he's flush with resources.
It's crazy to think that this is a mulligan of 5 in which Dykman missed his second land.
Right.
That's what happened here. And he's making this look pretty easy, honestly. What's next here for Steven? Ah, yes. The snake. The Winding Constrictor. Snake looks so friendly in the picture.
I think there's a ceiling on how friendly snakes look.
No, I agree, naturally. My inane ramblings about wanting a pet hippo and a pet elephant, which, to be fair, I still want, but I've never wanted a pet snake. I know what's going down there.
I went to the zoo recently.
Okay, that sounds fun.
It was. And we went and saw the hippo at the Denver Zoo.
Singular?
They are disgusting. they are so disgusting. I cannot. You would be trying so desperately to return that hippo.
I'm keeping it forever. I can teach you to be clean.
That is not what I saw. That was not at all the experience I witnessed.
Dykman's starting to get on the aggressive.
I'm not
here.
saying that it's the hippo's fault. I'm just saying you would be trying to get rid of it.
Oh, the other animal that I want is a porcupine.
Okay.
No, I think yeah, it's a porcupine, not a hedgehog. It's a porcupine. There's a great video online, some just porcupine just mising around, and someone petting it with oven mitts. Because if you don't have those, you're probably just dead.
Yeah, they'll kill you.
But that porcupine looked like it was having a blast, getting petted around by some awesome humans. So I want a porcupine now too. I just have never wanted a snake.
I can get behind the porcupine compared to the hippo because, you know, you mentioned the oven mitts. There's probably other tactics.
Yeah.
You have no recourse against the hippo if it decides it's your time to go.
That's just it?
That is it.
Okay. Here's a hissing quagmire from Dykman. Yeah, he's starting to get. I mean, well, first of all, the Scroungers can't block.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's turning up the heat on the Harvesters.
That's the other issue here with when the game bogs down.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's so many counters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Rishkar.
The noose constrictor just in full effect.
This deck is sweet.
I love I refer to these as R&D decks of, you know, medium to high power decks that are just exploring some honest synergies because we build these decks a lot in R&D. This is an R&D deck right here.
In case you're wondering, Steven had any energy, he has 6.
Siphoner plus Harvester and then making extra energy to draw cards or gain life and, you know.
I mean, what's the deal with this Harvester card? I thought it was a 3/3 on the ground
No,
when I started the show this weekend.
3/5 flyer.
A 3/5 flyer. I seriously thought it was just like a
3/5 flyer.
I thought it was a train armor down that could gain lifelink.
It's. We have watched a lot of Saheeli Rai combo. It is not a star in that matchup.
No,
of course, but any matchup like this, forget about it.
That is going to do it. Steven Dykman's going to win this match over Derik Malenda. 2-0. Green-black aggro just pulverized Smarter Vehicles.
It's a 5-card hand. He missed a second land drop on the draw.
How's that thing a 3/5?
It's, I don't know, because you can only play so many vehicles. And there's a bunch of matchups where that card's kind of nonsense. But in matchups like this, it might be the best thing going on.
It was the best thing going on there.